Hey everyone, welcome to my Facebook Live. Thank you very much to everybody who has engaged in this conversation with me so far, for everyone who has liked, supported, and sent continuous messages on Go Beyond Sports. It is my endeavor to connect, contribute, and also change the way we see sports and the way we are with sports. Today with me, I have somebody who absolutely needs no introduction. Jwala Gutta is not only an out-of-the-box head turner in the field of sports, but also as a woman that she is. She is somebody who speaks her heart. She speaks not only on issues related to sports, but also advocates women empowerment, fair play, gender equality, and so much more. I'm extremely thrilled and privileged, and it is my honor to introduce to everyone out there Jwala Gutta, who is India's premier badminton player and also an Arjuna awardee. Hi, Jwala.
Hi, what's up?
All well. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you so much for being a part of Go Beyond Sports today.
Thank
It
you. Thank
is
you for having
not
me.
it is not only a pleasure, but it's an honor to have somebody like you. Uh, Introducing you does not even require talking about all of your achievements, because there is so much that you have done. There is so much that you have become based on your achievements that I think everything would seem very small in terms of introduction. So once again, thank you very much. I'm going to dive and dwell straight into our questions. Um,
Yep.
I want to ask one thing. Uh, what made you choose sports, and what made you then also choose badminton?
See, I think in our country, if you see all the successful sports persons, the family plays a very important. There are few exceptions, very few,
Right.
you can hardly count them on your fingertips. But I think most of the successful sports persons, I think, if not for their family support, wouldn't have been able to get where they are today. And
Right.
I think I'm the lucky one. You know my it was my dad's dream to see me as a sports person,
Hmm.
and he kind of played a huge role in introducing me to sports. And badminton was my mother's choice. I think she wanted me to play an indoor sport, and she introduced me to badminton. And I played a lot of other sports before that, but
Mm-hmm.
I've played tennis, I've played table tennis, I've played cricket, volleyball, you name it. But I kind of chose. I didn't choose, but I think we had a coach like Arif sir from then, so it was given that I will then take up badminton.
So tell me something. What is it about sport that also made your parents choose that as something that you would want you to become? You have, like you mentioned, you've dabbled with a lot of things, possibly even apart from sports. Like we are aware that you featured in a dance sequence, and
Oh,
you've
no, no, that
done.
was no, 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 no. That was much, much later. It was just a kind of a thing like, when you have an opportunity, why not just try everything?
Right.
And fortunately, I have a lot of friends who are in the film industry, and this was kind of a friendly gesture kind of a thing, which I did
Hmm.
for a very dear friend. And yeah, it just happened. But movie was never my chosen
Calling.
career. Never.
So then,
No,
what
it
is
was
it, this
always
aspect
sports.
of sports that actually makes you choose that? And what is it about sports? So my uh, belief is that sports is a life skill.
Mm.
When you are growing into a sports personality, there is a lot that you learn in sports as a life coaching, as a skill. So, what is it for you about sports that actually makes it what it is for you?
See, when I was born, it was not received as good as what my father thought. He himself has three other sisters, and there are three brothers, and he's the youngest one. And when I was born, it was like a kind of a shocking reaction, which he did not expect. So he kind of took it as, I'm the first girl child in my whole family, and he kind of took it as a challenge. In my time, if you actually see, the whole engineering kind of a thing was going on. It was a engineer facade which was going on. Every second person was an engineer, and then there was this great engineering colleges, coaching, and
Right.
I think
Right.
we kind of over did the
Yes.
engineering thing. And but my father said, no, I'm gonna not make her, I'm gonna make her something which nobody else has ever thought of. And he always loved sports, and he never got the opportunity. He says he never got the opportunity. And he comes from a farmer background. That's the family he belongs to. And he did MSc organic chemistry. He gave up his PhD. He wanted to do PhD, but he gave it up to take up a job because the family situation was not that great.
Right. Right.
So then he had decided that I'm gonna make her something where, better than a boy, you know
Hmm.
and ye naam roshan karegi family ka. That
Right.
was the kind of a thing. And it was given that I'm going to take up sports no matter what. At that
Right.
age, at the age of 4 or 5, a child wouldn't know the meaning of dedication, determination,
Right.
or
Right.
aims and goals. All this doesn't fit
Right.
in a 4-year-old mind. But it was my father. His dedication, his determination, his
And
goals.
right.
You know,
So at
I
what
think
point
it
in
was
time did
them.
they become your goals as well?
I think it was much later. See, first, when I started sports, I was just 4-year
Hmm.
old.
Hmm.
And when I think by the in 10 years time, it kind of became a habit. Like
Right.
utte brush karo, it
Exactly.
was like a
Exactly.
habit. Brush, get ready, go for training. So
Right.
it kind of
Right.
became a habit since
Right.
then.
Right.
And yeah, and then when you obviously, as a 13-14-year-old, you look back and you worked hard, like 10
To reach
years
there.
of that life, and then
Right.
it kind of became an automatic kind of a thing, very organic it was.
Right.
And even then, my father never put pressure ki you have to do this, you have to win. He just said, just go enjoy, as long as you have put in your 100%. And I know if
Right.
you put in 100%, you will be a world champion. He always
Right.
said that to me. And luckily, even my coach said the same thing. My mom also said the same thing. So in my head, I was there, I was there. I
Right.
was already a world champion, a
World
world class
champion.
player since then. So, and that's the kind of attitude I had since the beginning.
So tell me something. Uh, how much has this journey of then changing from somebody who just began playing sports to then knowing that, okay, this is where I want to go, and then going into the different stages of playing from the states, and then going to the nationals, and then going internationals, how much of that has not only how have you been able to make the changes within yourself in every aspect of this journey? What did it require of you?
My progression into the Indian team was pretty quick. I started in 94, and
Right.
95 I was state champion, 96 I was national champion, 99 I was in the Indian team. I was in the main Indian team.
Right.
Uh, Progression was pretty quick. My aims were very high, as a 13, 14-year-old, my aims were never like, because I was already tall, and I was, as a girl's physicality, I was already a very
Right.
tall girl. I'm
Right.
very tall. I'm now you probably cannot see it, but I'm almost 6. And
Wow.
yeah, and since childhood I've been always this tall person.
So how much of
and
an
and I
advantage has that been?
It's an advantage. It's also a disadvantage. I have to work a little harder than a shorter person. I have to bend a little more. There's a lot of impact on my knees and on my,
Right,
I'm heavier than the rest of the, batch.
right.
So my lower back takes a lot of beating.
Toll. Right,
My knees, make a lot of noise now. So I have a lot
yeah,
of wear and tear in my body. But it also has its advantages. The reach is
right.
very
Which
good.
I think
And
every player comes with their own skill set, right? So they have that one
yeah,
thing that kind of sets
but
them apart.
yeah, but then at the highest level, top 20, with different kind of physique and different kind of skill set, then it all becomes almost the same. You get
Right.
used to playing each other, so it really doesn't make any difference. Whoever is strong mentally that day wins. It's
That
given.
is that is what I
So
was also wanting to get at. So
yeah.
what sets a good player, a very good international player or a national player from the one that is actually winning on that day, a champion, what makes a champion? Because, like you rightly mentioned, that in your top 10s and your top 20s, in terms of
Hmm.
skill sets, almost everyone is at par. The only thing
Yes.
that sets someone apart is possibly
Yes.
the mental game. And at most times, it's also the mental game on court on that particular day. So, how,
I
as a
I feel it's everything,
huh,
mental, the attitude you have on court and off court. Off court, people say that, on court you have to be this and you have to be that. But if you are not this and that off court, you cannot be this and that on court. It's very simple.
right,
In every sport, if you actually see, whenever a player is on court, he or she kind of demonstrates their individual personality.
right.
If you take me, I'm very straightforward.
Yes,
I'm really not, I don't fear anything. And that's the
right,
kind of attitude you would probably see me displaying unintentionally. It is not in,
right,
it just, you can't control few things,
right,
when you're
right,
on court. So these personality traits is also takes a lot of practice. You have to think like a champion. You have to believe you're a champion. And even the fearlessness is what you have to have in your personality to be fearless on court.
right.
And it'll show.
So, how would you suggest then to, say upcoming players or other people who are already playing in every kind of sport? How do you kind of develop this kind of mentality, apart from, of course, the fact that you personally have to go through it? So, how do you kind of seek help also to then make these switches and these changes?
You have to start thinking like that again. Everything it takes practice. I was not born fearless. I was not born, when
Right,
when I was named Jwala. I no not I didn't know the meaning of Jwala for quite some time. it
right,
was it was it was how people around you kind of nourish you, and they kind of feed you. So what feedback you take from others is also very important. And
right,
for me, my parents were like, you know whatever they say is the ultimate thing. And I
right.
never bothered since the beginning, since
Huh,
before the social media facade.
right.
Whatever outside, because see, I'm brought up in a South Indian state.
Mm,
I always got attention. Let me tell you, be very frank.
yes,
I always got attention. I was tall, I was fair. Fair skin is
right,
obsessed all over. South Indians are even more obsessed.
right,
So I always got the attention, and I was always this a tomboy kind of a person. That was my
right,
personality, and my father kind of encouraged that, because he
right.
he always told me that I am not always going to be there to protect you. So
True.
you have to be able to protect yourself. I used to travel in RTC buses. I used to travel on my own from school to stadium to school, stadium back home. You know,
Right.
I lived in Hyderabad for past 30 2 years, and
Wow.
then there were hardly any traffic, but the distance, even
Were
5-6 kilometers, used to feel
Right.
very long. And I have traveled alone,
Right.
and my father wanted to make me this person who's not dependent on someone to come and protect,
Right.
so I kind of developed that personality since the beginning. And my father always told me, no, 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 you don't need anybody. You should know how to,
Right.
fight your own battles, and don't come and complain about silly
Right.
things. I used to see, like, I still remember a 5-year-old. I was 5, and then I went home crying, saying that this guy is bullying me. And my father said, don't bring your problems home.
To
And
me. Yeah.
since then, it's just stuck in my head. I've never brought my, if you see, I've gone through
Yes.
a lot of nonsense, but I
Yes.
never put my parents, my father never spoke on behalf of me. It was always me in front, and I kind of
Right.
dealt with most of the controversies with me, head
Right.
on, and
Right.
I never involved my parents. And that's the kind of personality I developed since the beginning.
Right.
So what was the question? I forgot.
No, so while we were speaking all of these, there are two things that really then I wanted you to elaborate while
Huh.
you mentioned it. So the thing is that glamour and sports somehow never
Hmm.
got married together. Very, very few glamorous women in sports have made their mark. The
Hmm.
the the name that just comes to me immediately is Anna Kournikova, who is in tennis,
Hmm.
and you have been somebody who has been extremely glamorous, and
Hmm.
yet you are this kind of person that you speak about. You being you're vociferous, you are extreme, you have reached the extremes in sports. How
Hmm.
have you how have you married the two?
I don't know, I don't know the definition of being. Everybody wants to look good. I'm sure you want to look good. That kind of, I wouldn't say it makes us prettier.
Yeah.
I think it kind of just boosts our morale. It's like wear good clothes, or it's like an image, you want to carry. It's your personality. You want to look good. You want to, dress well. You want to wear good makeup. You want to wear red lipstick sometimes. It's fine. But I think there is so much of resistance towards this kind of a thing in our country for some
Yeah.
reason. I cannot believe it. The
Yes.
hypocrisy people,
And that is what I was
succumb to.
trying to get to, as in
Yeah,
we are
because
aware that
like,
there is this huge dissent with people not being able to accept sexy on the court. Let's put it that way. Like
not
they will
not
judge you
I wouldn't
most
see
of the
sexy
time.
is again, to uh, you know why
Each one's own.
can't, yeah, but why can't anybody want to look good? It is
Yes.
so normal. We have beauty parlors. We have normal women going to beauty parlors for to groom themselves, to have
Right.
nail polishes. There's such a big industry of cosmetics in our country. And when
Right.
a sports woman does it in our country, there's so much of dissent. It's unbelievable.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like, women are not allowed to be glamorous, and if a sportswoman is glamorous, she is not the focused one.
Right.
She is not taken seriously.
Yes.
Either she can be glamorous and she can be outspoken. She cannot be both.
Right.
She probably, oh, she has color on her hair, she's blonde, oh, she's so dumb.
Yes,
She's
and that is why, I wanted to say that there's so much of all of this happening. But what would be your advice then to these young girls, or to say to other
do
people?
what
Like,
you do what you want. Do
yeah,
what you like. You just don't have to dress up on your wedding day. You
exactly,
can dress up every day,
right,
tournament matches you want to play, you're playing. See, I am displaying my skill in front of millions of people. I
right,
want to look good. It's just like an actress. Only in India, only
right.
actresses, actors, or cricketers are allowed to be glam.
Yes,
Otherwise, others are all frowned upon. which is,
Right.
I feel, so hypocritical of a society. Because
Yes.
if you see, even a bald man wants to wear a wig. Why would he want to wear a wig? Because it boosts his morale. Otherwise, it's okay. I've seen so many bald people. I don't really look at them weirdly, but they
Yeah.
want to do it because they want to look good. It's same with anybody. And sports
Yeah.
person, I don't know, sports women in our country, especially sports, except cricket,
Yeah.
sports persons in our country are supposed to look garib, are
Yeah.
supposed to look shabby. Only then they are focused. You
Yeah.
know, people are not realizing. I've been in Indian team since 1999. 1999 till 2017. If I was not focused and if I had not worked hard, I wouldn't have achieved. I can
True.
only and only work hard for about, that's humanly possible, for about 8 hours, 8 to 10 maximum. I still would advise only eight
Right.
hours and don't overdo it, because
Right.
you'll succumb, you'll get injuries. But 8 hours of sleep, I still have 8 hours to do whatever I want to do.
Right.
You know, why? I don't understand this hypocrisy of people, that
Right.
why a sports person cannot have a normal life beyond sports.
Yeah. And
And
this
it's
is why
normal.
it is also really truly go beyond sports, because there is so much that is also a part of what a player is. I mean, and so many people who make a player who they are. So I really wanted to also then touch upon something about that we've spoken in terms of injuries. So
Hmm.
somehow injuries has always been a part of your playing career, off and on. You've played with injuries. You've won also tournaments.
I haven't gotten injured really.
Hmm.
I was very that way, I really worked hard on my base,
Yeah.
my footwork, my skill, my fitness. I really worked hard. First 12, 13 years of my life, I worked hard like a bull, which
Hmm.
people don't realize, but I did work hard. I used to run a lot, I used to train a lot. So my
Right.
base is very, very strong. I worked hard. I really worked hard on my skills,
Hmm.
so I never kind of got into any serious injuries. Never.
Hmm.
I never
Hmm.
gave up a tournament because of an injury.
Right. So then, so the question here is then how do you, like you said, that you make your base so strong that you don't actually
Hmm.
get injured?
Hmm.
What would you advise the kids then who are beginning, or even who are training for any kind of sport, not just badminton? That what does it really take for you to become injury free, or let's say to avoid as much as possible? Because
See,
everybody comes from a
first,
different body type.
yes, for body type, also from different background. There is
Yeah.
certain kind of a desperation now,
Right.
because now people are saying there's a lot of fame and name also in sports. Earlier there
Right.
was nothing,
Right.
and now I think there are a lot of young parents who are putting their children thinking,
Yes.
they should give
It
results,
is a career
fast
now.
results.
Yes.
It's an investment, okay.
Yes.
But I would first suggest that don't think there's any shortcut, that today if you start lifting at the age of 12, 13, when your bones are weak, you start lifting heavy weights, you will get injured thinking that you'll get fast results. It's not going to happen. So first you need to know that any career, whether it's sports or any career, it takes time to build. You have to give that time, you have to be patient, and you have to work on your foundation, which will hold you. And probably, see, winning is not difficult. Winning is very easy. I feel winning is very easy. Staying on top after winning and staying on top is very difficult. And for that, you need to have a good foundation. So, whoever you're training with, ask questions. Why you're doing this training? What is it for? Whether you're doing sprints or interval, explosives. Why you do certain training for, and how does it help you? And the children need to start using their heads, and because this will take you a long way. Then even when you grow older and you are at you know a position where you understand what training is required, then you would do it and you would know your body more. So don't stop asking questions. Ask questions, ask the right questions. Again, um and just focus on foundation. And you have to give time. You have to give that 10 years of your life to build that foundation.
So you just touched upon this, that it's easy to get on the top, but then it's very
Yeah.
difficult to maintain being on the top. It's also difficult to
Mm.
keep your mental, yourself to keep going mentally to remain on the top. What does
Yeah.
it really take? How do you build that mental strength to keep going? Because it is again, humanly you may slack on some time. There are so many things that happen on the top. When you've reached there, you tend to get defocused with the kind of attention you get, or the kind of other things that come your way, because now you're on the top. We see that happening very often today, as much as it didn't happen back then. Like you also mentioned, because it's almost become like a career option. Sport is almost like a business now. There is so much that's happening in the field, that the moment you reach at a certain level, there are a lot of more avenues that open for you as a player, which weren't there earlier. So how does
Mm.
one then kind of maintain their focus?
See, it really depends on the surrounding you're in. You have to sometimes, once you grow up, you have to choose your surrounding.
Right,
My surrounding was my parents and very few friends. And, although my friends used to party and go out, I was not able to go out, but they never made me feel bad about it. So I kind of chose those kind of friends. And you have to know your priorities. Okay. Three or four things cannot be a priority. For me, my badminton was my priority, and whatever came in the way of my badminton, I kind of moved it aside. Many things, social, a lot of personal things, I kind of
right,
shoved it aside, because I knew that badminton was my priority from the beginning.
right,
So the
right,
attitude you have towards sports is very important. Why are you taking up sports? You have to know that answer. I took up sports because I wanted to do something really good. And what it takes to be a sports person is not sacrifice. I don't believe we sacrifice anything. We don't
right.
sacrifice social life. That is
Yes,
not sacrifice.
right,
We don't sacrifice sleep. People say that I sacrifice my sleep. Giving up on sleep is not sacrifice. You know,
right,
I think the only people who can use the word sacrifice is the army people. Okay, they sacrifice their life for the country. They are there, they sacrifice their personal life for our country. And I think what as a sports person, what we do is we give up
right,
few things to enjoy something, to do something which we enjoy. It's not like I'm
right,
not enjoying, and people who don't enjoy what they're doing wouldn't do it for a long time. So the
right,
attitude, first you need to build your attitude. Why are you doing sports? What is the reason you took up sports? What's your aim and goal? And then everything will follow. Everything will
right,
follow. The
right,
attitude has to be right, and it has to be what do you say, consistent. Yeah.
right,
and
right,
and 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 again, I'm telling this to all the youngsters. Don't think you're sacrificing anything. You are not. If you're not enjoying sports, don't do it. It's very simple.
right,
But if you want to become a champion, you have to give up. Yes, you have to give up parties. You have to give up birthday parties, wedding parties, relatives party, relatives outing. You have to give up, because summer holiday, you have to. It's a off season for sports person. You have to put in a little extra effort in summer holidays.
right,
So these are the kind of things. But I always say this, and my father always says this, that we gave up something to do something which we enjoyed. We
right,
enjoyed, and we're still enjoying.
right.
So the
So,
attitude was, the main thing which kind of pushed me to wherever I am today.
right. So also tell me that, again, with the attitude, then how important are these support systems in making a player who they become, right? Everything from, say, the physio that you deal with, or the nutrition, or the coaches. And, they all become very vital people in your life, because they are the ones who are your first contact in terms of your sport and in terms of your game. So how would you explain the role of all of these people, and what do you have to say about what it takes from all of them to make somebody a champion?
See, now the physio and the nutritionist part of it in my life came in very, very late after London Olympics.
Right,
Not even during London Olympics.
right,
So, because now there's so much more knowledge, but
right,
any individual sport, whether it's individual or team event, actually,
right,
we need a proper team. We need proper support system at home. We need a physio, nutritionist, trainer, a proper coach, a proper manager nowadays. But then all that you can only afford when you are doing well. But to the beginners, I would say that your family, your friends, they also are big motivators.
right.
And who else? And coach and your trainer. These four elements in the beginning is very important. Very
Right,
important. You cannot
right.
do it alone otherwise.
Yeah. Tell me something. Badminton, and coming into the current scenario that we are all into. Uh,
Hmm.
so, couple of questions. First, how have you remained fit during this current
Uh,
scenario in the lockdown? What have you been doing?
I don't think I've remained fit. I've put on weight, but it's okay. I
Yes.
am really okay with it.
Right.
I've worked hard almost 30 years of my life.
Right.
So even if I've put on a little weight, I don't regret it. I feel bad sometimes. I want to, become fitter, but it's
Yeah.
okay. I don't want to stress really.
Yeah.
And during this time, I think it's very important to do what you like to do. Don't get stressed. There are few things which are not in our control. You know,
Right. Right.
you cannot go to your work. Everybody's work has stopped. From
Right.
right from the lower class to the highest.
Right.
Everybody is suffering.
Yeah.
um, the only thing you can do is stay positive. I know it's very easy said than done, but that's why I say that, oh, everybody's putting out their fitness videos, this and that, and I'm like, um, do what you want. Mental fitness is more important. Watch
Right.
TV, eat what you want. If you've put on a couple of kilos, it's fine. You can lose it anytime you want. You
Right.
will get the things will get normal because it has to, because
Right.
there will be an end to all of this. I
Right.
don't believe that it'll go forever and all of that. And don't think
Right.
like that. If any bad thing will have an end, and then you can get back on your toes whenever things get all right.
So tell me
But
something.
you have to be patient.
Is this also then the advice that you've been giving the students for who are with you? How have you been
I
able to keep up their motivation during the lockdown?
I haven't launched my academy yet,
Hmm. Hmm.
but any badminton player, who speaks to me, the only thing I say is relax. I think when you start training later on, you'll wonder, oh my God, I got so much, I never had so much time to sleep. I should have slept. The sports person crave to eat, watch TV, and
Right.
sleep a
Right.
lot. And
Right.
I have traveled so much. I enjoy staying at home, telling you frankly. So all the
Right.
sports persons, the only thing I would request is enjoy what you have today.
Right.
Again, the life will get busy. Again, there'll be so much traveling. I traveled almost 3 weeks a month for so many years of my life that I'm thoroughly enjoying staying at home. For me, not packing and unpacking is a luxury right now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I hate traveling. Telling you frankly, I hate traveling.
So tell me something. Going forward here, what what do you see as the future of not only sports, or not only badminton in particularly, sorry, but also of sports going forward from the times that we are coming out now? How does one reform sports now? or is there
I
absolutely
think
no need to reform it any further than what it already is, and things just go back? Like, what's your opinion on
things definitely need to reform. There's so many things which needs reforming. First, the attitude, the associations, I think, who are supposed to take care of the welfare of the players, they need to, I think we all, I think all sports persons kind of complain that everybody ki cricket dekhte hain, cricket ko paise milte hain, cricket is this, cricket is that. I would only request the associations or the players to ask the associations to learn from BCCI that how it kind of popularized a game which is played only in 10 countries, and
right?
their World Cup is like a football World Cup,
Right.
you know. So we need to
Right.
learn from them how to promote the sport, how they have promoted the players, how promoting players has promoted the sport,
Yeah.
which is not done by any association, you know.
Right.
See, there are, and if you see BCCI, their president, secretary, everything is like a job for them, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the other amateur kind of sport association right now, any sport you take it, badminton, wrestling, kabaddi, any sport,
All of them.
it's all an honorary job,
Yes,
you know.
it
They
is.
already have a primary job to take care of.
Yes.
Even the politicians, we need politicians because somebody has to take
Stand
care
out.
of our sport.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we need politicians. I wouldn't say that it should be all sports persons. I don't believe in that. It should be
Right.
a right balance, but we need people who take it as a job. We need paid jobs in our association, which is not there right now. Everything is
Right.
honorary. Secretary is honorary, vice president is honorary. So it's like, huh, you know,
Right.
कुछ करना है तो ठीक है कल करेंगे या that kind of attitude, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I feel these all these jobs should be paid jobs so that they take it seriously, and they should have aims and goals, you know, that you have 3 years, you have to do this in 3 years, and if they don't
Right.
do their work properly, remove them, put another person who
Absolutely.
will do. So that kind of a professionalism needs to come in
Right.
every sport. That's when
Right.
the sport will go up. That's what I
Right.
feel. Otherwise, right now it's a very amateurish behavior and attitude, and these people don't put sports person as priority,
Right.
and there's a lot of self-interest which comes into play, and which is not good, which is not helping.
So tell me, on a personal front, then, how much have you been able to impact? I mean, we are aware that like you also mentioned, you speak your heart, you
Mm.
don't mince your words, and
Mm.
you have quoted a lot of controversy, with just
Mm.
being as upfront and as straightforward as you are. And of course, it comes with it also comes from you being completely in your own skin to be able to speak that, right? It takes a person to be very, very within themselves to not be able to fake the words that they say. It just comes straight out as who you are. So in your own personal capacity, then, how much do you think you have been able to, or you can then add to what we speak about in terms of the world of sports, or add to the Indian sports per se?
I don't know how much. I am sure I have made a big impact, but you know, the field is controlled by men, and it's very difficult for these men um, to handle women like me. You know, they don't like it. They
Right.
don't accept it, and but I think I have made a very big impact. Uh, uh, but my juniors have not kind of carried it on, which I kind of expected. They are all satisfied with whatever they have, which is not good. They have nothing basically, and so that's why the reason why I came up with my academy is to kind of It's like my muscle right now, that I have
Right.
an academy. I will do things in the way I believe is right.
Right.
And I always believed that sports is more than just winning or being a champion. You know,
It,
sports
true.
is sports is sports. We not only learn how to deal with our losses, but we also learn how to deal with our wins.
Yes.
And with our win, when a sports person, we travel the whole world, and I think it's some after a while it becomes a moral responsibility to educate the society around
Right.
us.
Right.
And I don't see that very often now. Everybody is like, I'm good,
To be.
I'm
Yes.
comfortable, but
Yes.
that's not good. Tomorrow
Yeah.
your children are going to come into this world, and they might be like, oh dad, why didn't you do something when
Right.
you had the power or when people were listening to you? I don't
Right.
want that kind of a regret for my children
Right.
in the academy, and for my children of my own children. That's why I opened this academy to kind of um, bring in a culture where sports and education go together. I have a
Together.
school also, and because I think if you see the crime rate now is going so high, is because our youth has a lot of time in hand first. They're unemployed, very bad education system in our country. So I thought, like with sports and
Education.
education, keep the youth, keep the children busy till the age of 18, teach them right or wrong,
Right.
and then
Right.
after 18 they are good enough to think on their own. And basically from my academy, I want to send in good people in the society. And that's I'm not looking for a champion in my from my academy. I'm looking for
Right.
that they learn more than sports, and they are not dependent on anybody. They're not dependent on their ancestral properties. That shouldn't be their mindset. Come out of it, become independent, and go and make the society better. I think that's what I we need today.
This is really very well put, because this is exactly what, I also began with saying that sports is such a life skill, and that is, exactly what you're kind of merging in together, because it's so important. And the one thing that it teaches people to be disciplined, and especially when you start at that really young age, when you begin to get disciplined, is something that then you kind of carry on with you in your life.
Discipline, you also learn a lot about teamwork. And our society, if it has to flourish, we all need to contribute, is
Yes.
what we need to learn.
Right.
Everybody today thinks that mera kuch nahi ho raha hai, so it's fine,
Right.
let me not poke my nose into somebody's business. But when
Yes.
I'm in trouble, I expect people to come and help me. So
True.
that's, I think, very hypocritical. If
Right.
you think that we are all one society, is when the whole society will flourish together.
Right.
And that's what I want children to learn from sports.
Also, then, what would be your suggestion, say, for having more women in sports, having more startups? Like, I would say for me, I am a sports startup, and I see that it not only am I one of those handfuls, but then again, I barely see in people from the large spectrum, I hardly see women in sports. And it makes me wonder that is this a domain that I'm entering into? So, how would you then suggest, like, how do you support innovations? How do you support startups? How do you bring more women into sports? And I am talking about not the playing of sports, but into sports.
I I did not think, um matlab, of course, I want to bring in encourage a lot of girls in the sports, and that's my main aim. I also have a cricket ground, so I want to make it exclusive women cricket academy, which is not there at all. That's what I'm thinking. That's my mind. That's where my mind is working right now. Startups, I don't know. Once I think what for me. in this now, right now, today in our society, when you have a lot of money is when you have a lot of power. So if I have that kind of a power, I will definitely, everybody knows me, you can ask any badminton. That way, I always love encouraging people. My own manager, actually, he just had passed out from college, and he came and I said, why not, let me encourage young children. And I've been with him, although a lot of big companies wanted to take me on, but then I stuck with him, because I always thought that, if somebody has to give a chance, so
Right.
I will, if I have that kind of a power, which right now I'm kind of running tight in because of the academy and stuff. But in future, most definitely, I will do something for women in general.
So Jwala, can I take a few questions that I hear from the people
Sure.
who are watching? Um, there is Deepak who wants to know what's the thought process after a major victory, and what are the goals that you set as a sportswoman after a victory?
See, this is what what happened. I learned this all very young. I won the nationals. I was the first one from my state to win, and we were very ecstatic, and we won. And then next day also, I wanted to have fun, take it easy in training. So my father came up to me and said only one thing, that you're a sports person, and I want you to play till a certain age, and you will play, and that's the kind of career you're going to have. You're going to have an event or a tournament every week. When you lose, you cannot let it pull you down, because you have to get back and you have to start working again for the next tournament. And the win is also the same. You cannot let it ride in your head and you be satisfied and ki ha abhi jeet gayi hu, so let me rest. And you cannot afford to have that kind of a attitude, because if you win just once, people might think of you for few days, or few months. But if you want to be a true champion, you have to win consistently. So you have to just forget how you won. Okay, 1 hour, 2 hours maximum, and then get back to training the next day. And that's what, again, it's the kind of habit you develop, and it's a practice which takes.
There's another question from Vivek, and he wants to know that is there more pressure playing against a weaker or a stronger opponent?
Always the weaker. I always felt a little pressure, but then, initially there was this, but then once I started playing consistently in the top, I kind of got rid of that pressure. The pressure had gone. I just went there to, I never thought of winning and losing. I just said, mujhe khelna hai bas. I want to display whatever skills I've learned till now. And that was my only aim. And I was very confident, and not that I've won all my matches, I wouldn't say that. But even when I lost, it was okay. I never got discouraged, or I was never sad. I must have cried in my life just once. That's it. So yeah, but it is tougher to play someone who's lower ranked. With a higher rank, you're like, okay, I have nothing to lose. But it's tougher to play against a lower ranked. Yeah.
So what switch do you make in your mental game then when you are on court? When you say that, okay, it is tougher and you are against a weaker opponent, what kind of a switch would you make mentally on court?
I only think about the score then. So if I'm one love, I'm just thinking about getting the second point. And if the opponent has the serve, I'm still thinking only about the next point, how to get the serve back and play for the next point. I'm only thinking 1 point at a time, and that helps me focus.
So does 1 point of a time also kind of not let you get into tournament nerves? Like there are a lot of people who are very good players, right, when they are
Hmm.
practicing, when they're
Yeah.
when they're on in their training days, but
Yeah.
there are huge match nerves which kind of get to even the bigger, get better players.
Oh
Like
my
they're
God.
at
Yeah.
the
I've
absolute,
seen it.
right. So what would
Yeah.
you say about that? Like probably then doesn't come from whether the person is confident or not, but somehow match pressure and match nerves just gets to a lot of
So
people.
many people, yeah, so many people I know who prepare really well, who are really intelligent. Even during the examination, they get fever, cough, cold, everything just before
Yes,
the tournament, just before an examination. I've known these people.
right.
I don't know how it happens. For me, it's like a magic kind of a thing. Oh my God, they're so fit and they're so fine during practice. And when they go for a tournament, they are sick. The first day, they're sick. They have headaches, they have cold, cough, fever. I don't want to name few very close people around me also have it. And I
Yeah,
just wonder what to do. But then you need to, take help of a psychologist, a sports
right.
psychologist. But you have to first, I don't know. In India, I think it is such a taboo to use a
Mental
psychologist's
health.
help or a mental help. I don't
Yes.
understand that. I have taken
Agree.
counseling,
I know, I know.
it's
I'm a huge
fine,
fan of counseling. I think it's
Yeah,
so important. And the thing, like, again, like you mentioned, it's a taboo. The thing is that we associate going through a psychologist or going through counseling or going through a mental expert only because we think there is a problem. But nobody really
yeah.
thinks that you can actually accentuate what you already are. And the idea to go to somebody just to even become a better version of yourself somehow just isn't there with so many people.
And it's just like going to a doctor. You have fever, go to a doctor. Something is riding in your head. Go to a doctor. He might give you a tab. He might give you something, some solution.
Right.
I have been to psychiatrists. I have been to sports psychologists, and I have no qualms about it. I say
Yes.
it. Yes, I have been.
Yes.
There. My RFs are that way. I have to. So I think it also matters what kind of people are around you. My father was in for counseling. My coach was like, Jwala, you need, I was in the beginning, as a 14-year-old, I was playing under 19 and, seniors. And I used to make a lot of easy peasy mistakes, very easy errors. And my coach asked me to go to a sports psychologist. And I think it kind of helped me.
Yes.
So I think first we need to admit there is a mental problem. The admission is what is very important, and many of them still have not admitted
People are in
that
denial.
they have a
Well, there's a lot of denial about people
yes,
also not wanting to admit, like you said, admit. They just don't, they are all in denial about the fact that I would require help. And again, like you again so rightly mentioned, that it just becomes like
yeah,
a taboo subject.
yeah.
I'm going to go further into a question. So, of course, now Ushma wants to know, how do you try to look pretty during the match?
How do I try to look pretty? I like my eyeliners, so I wear eyeliner.
Even while you are
And
at a tournament and even when you're playing the matches, is that
yes,
how it goes
I
with you?
wear eyeliner. I started, I think, much later on when I kind of knew the art of drawing an
Lining.
eyeliner. It's a big
Yeah.
it took a lot of practice. Okay. And then I had to find out a waterproof eyeliner because I sweat a lot.
Hmm.
But even then it kind of gets smudged. But eyeliners, and I like my hair color. I've been coloring my hair for very long time. And my manicure nails. My nails are very important. But this came in much later, when I
Yeah.
could afford to do all this.
Right.
And when I became the senior player and nobody questions me. But again, even then, I kind of faced a lot of like, oh, look at her, look at her nails, look at her this, look at her that. And I was the first woman to wear skirts in our country in modern era. Okay,
Wow.
even then, people are like, oh my God, you're wearing a skirt. Oh my God, your tummy is showing. You're this. I'm like, oh my God, it's such a
Yes.
but
I,
but
I, I feel I feel what you say completely.
so yeah, but just do what you like,
Yeah.
and be confident, be truthful. I think that is more prettier than any other makeup. Be good in your heart. I think that's very important.
Right. So Chitra wants to know, Jwala, what is the future of other sports in India other than cricket? Do you think there is lack of infrastructure and priority been given to sports in India when it comes to comparing a game like cricket? So I think this is like also an endless debate that we have been going on and on for years.
But
What
there
is
is
your take
an
on
there, but my take here is that cricket has kind of become a religion, and there is a demand for cricket, and that's why there are infrastructures for cricket. There are a lot of infrastructure for other sports, but the public is not making that kind of a demand.
Yes,
You have to, it's just like any business, the consumer demand, and then the producer will make according to it.
right.
And if the government, if तुमको अभी government को हिलाना है कि भाई we want sports, you have to make that kind of a demand,
True.
because sadly we don't live in a sporting country.
Yeah.
That's a given fact, you have to accept it. So where there is no demand, why will the government also move? So if you have to move the government or any sport association, you have to make that kind of a demand. And there are so many, like even in Delhi there is Siri Fort, there's so many government
Beautiful
infrastructure, but
structures.
they're just unused.
Yes. Yes.
You use it, that's your right.
Yes.
First I think we should educate people on what their rights are. People
Yes.
don't know what their rights are. So I
Yes.
think that needs to be done. It's your right to play in a government infrastructure facility. It's cheap. You don't have to go to a private academy
Yes.
always. Use
Yes.
the government facility, so that the government also takes care of it. Government also makes a little revenue, and they'll give back.
So sports is also one of the rights for a human being.
Of
And it's
course.
very funny that a lot of people don't know. They know the right to food and they know a right to clothing and they know a right to all so many things. But sports also actually comes under the right.
Yeah, I went to the Delhi High Court to beg to right to play. After London Olympics, the association tried to ban me, and I had to go to Delhi High Court to say that they just don't want me to play. So yeah, playing is your right, and it's your fundamental right, and use
It
it.
is.
And there
It
are
is.
there are infrastructures available around you. You just have to look. Everything can't be according to your convenience. You have to move a little bit.
Yes, true. Manish says, how about opening an academy in Mumbai?
Oh, I need a lot of money then. As I said, if I have the power, I will see. If I was, I'm telling you, I'm this kind of a person. If I had a little money, I would have done it. The thing is, I did it in Hyderabad is also because it was matter of my convenience. We did it with my own, our own family, personal funding. And I live in Hyderabad. I couldn't go anywhere else. The government did not help me. I did not get any sponsors, so I had to make the whole infrastructure at my own cost, and it's beautiful, and I'm very glad and I'm very proud about it. And I hope everybody will see it one day. Everybody would have seen it, but if not for this lockdown, April
Yes.
was my launch. But it's
And
okay.
somehow I
I've
had my
no
misinformation because I actually thought that you already had then that launch and I wasn't aware that
no
it kind of got called off
No,
during the lockdown.
no, yeah. April was the launch, but it's okay. I shouldn't be really complaining. I think there are
Yes.
lot more people suffering with a lot more serious problems,
Yes.
but it's okay. I think one thing I've learned from my sport is patience, so I'm being very patient.
Right. So I'm going to ask you one parting question is
Hmm.
what makes Jwala who she is?
Uh, Many things, but I think I did not forget what I was taught in my school. Yeah, and I did not use it according to my convenience. Many things, such bolo, jhoot mat bolo. All Indians are my brothers and sisters. We live in a very diverse society with different religion, different community. It's all fine. We all need to stick to each other. We all live in a society. One educated woman educates the whole society. So all these basic fundamental things is what I've not forgotten. I think that's what makes me who I am today. And
It's
I would want to educate people the same way.
Thank you so much, because this is such an important takeaway, to actually remain true to yourself, true to your roots, and also that the education that you are imparted in your childhood really does make you who you are, and it's
Yes.
about using what you have as a skill. uh, Again, very important to have your set of family, your friends, your close associates to be with. There is,
Yes.
Manish says that my daughter plays, and I would like to train her with your kind of attitude. And I think, Jwala,
Mhm.
this really is the kind of impact that we are all going back with. So thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you,
Again,
Sonali.
it is always heartfelt. It is always straight from who you are as a person. So thank you so much once
Thank
again for
you.
being on Go Beyond Sports. And
Thank
please
you.
do like, comment, and subscribe to Go Beyond Sports. Again, I am a sports entrepreneur, as a startup, trying to make this little change in our world in terms of sports, because I believe very passionately in what sports can give us as a person. So
Yes.
if there is anything that I can do with the help of, again, everybody, I would be more than happy to have all the kind of support that comes my way. So thank
Yes.
you again.
Done.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.